Joining me are the usual characters: Chris Scales,
Hey, Mike.
David Hall,
Hello.
Greg Hectus,
Hey y'all.
Mason Stiver,
Hey, guys.
Tony Rochette back,
Hey, everybody.
and special guest Ray Alfala.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Ray. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming on. I actually looked last time you were on was like 2016. I think we got you on twice that year. So it's been a while, so we're happy to have you back. Um, so
Yeah,
welcome.
thanks for having me. I don't even remember the 2016 one. A lot has happened since.
I know. It's like, how many races have you done since then? It's like got to be a million, right?
Not that many probably. I don't race much outside of peak, but I've been trying to do more since I'm into streaming now.
It's probably a million laps, not
Yeah,
million
million laps.
races.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, last night I was mad after NIS at Richmond, just totally choked, and found a random carb cup race, jumped in there, and what do you know? It's Ray and his boys, and you guys are running carb cup last night.
Yeah. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but well, yeah. Our next peak race is at Dega, and we haven't raced there in like 6 years, and we have this new aero package now with the tapered spacers and the really tall spoilers. So we figured we'd give it a try, get some early practice in, and it's as you saw, it's pretty insane.
It's very insane, and so I'm in this race, and there's like all these
User
peak
entered your
guys and
channel.
pros and people with these big I ratings, and here's me in my sub 3000. But anyway, I qualified fourth, and I ran top five for a while, and then I saw you and a bunch of them just roll by me. We were all three wide pack up front, and I was on the bottom. And at one point, I got kind of thrown down out of the mix. I didn't wreck, but I lost the pack. And then a few seconds later, the pack wrecked, and then I ended up leading after that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just mayhem. We were just having a good time and trying to learn a little bit, but it was mostly we were streaming and seeing kind of what was waiting for us once we started the testing and stuff. But it's always a good time anytime you can get together with friends and running laps anywhere.
Yeah, and the package. What'd you think of the new package? I mean, that was my first real experience with a bunch of guys really going for it, and we were three wide, and it was working. And you could get runs. I mean, the bottom was pretty bad, but what did you think?
Yeah, well, we there's basically almost no air bubble between the cars, so you can just get a massive run and pull out and pass. And there's a lot of side draft, so it really just seems very dynamic, and I don't even know what to expect as far as for the peak race. I think it's going to be the most insane plate race we've ever had.
Yep, I agree. Well, let's get into it now. Normally, we don't go into questions about your start and what kind of hardware you have, but it's been a long time, and we have a lot of new listeners too. So, talk about when did you first hear about the word iRacing and how did you get started?
Yeah, well, I was racing on NASCAR 2003, basically since 2003 online, and I was in there in all the kind of like the top leagues, and so we started hearing about iRacing kind of like 2006, 2007, how they were beta testing and things like that, and then I got the invite to join one of the early releases of iRacing in May of 2008, so I jumped right in there, and it was funny because I never actually went through the rookie stage because once I went in there, all of the other drivers, we all just kind of came in together, and I've been racing kind of like the same people for a really long time because we were all rookies together at the very beginning. Um, and yeah, that was 2008, almost 11 years ago.
Yeah. All right. That is from the beginning. And what about your hardware? Tell us about your current setup. What are you running?
Yeah, I got triple screens. I got a VRS prototype wheel and pedals. Testing those out should be, especially the wheels, should be released pretty soon, or at least the information for it. As far as computer, upgraded my computer recently. Kind of got all the bells and whistles. i9. I have a GTX 1080 from a couple years ago. I needed to upgrade after a while because I started streaming this year, as did like half the peak field all at once, and I was having some issues with my computer freezing and things like that. So upgraded to that, and so yeah, triple screens and the VRS wheel and pedals, and pretty nice computer.
All
And
right.
and the Obuto. I have an Obuto Ozone, the original, for the cockpit.
Nice. Okay. Now, you were on VR, if I'm not mistaken, and what brought you back to triples?
Yeah, I gave VR a try a couple years ago, and it was amazing. I remember I jumped in there. I think the first car and track combo I tried was like a truck at Auto Club, and I jumped in there and I did like 25 laps straight by myself, which I would never do unless it was something really amazing. And it really was incredible. But it doesn't have as like there's not enough resolution in it. There's not enough FOV, so you're at a bit of a disadvantage racing in traffic, and I think there's a little bit of input lag in it right now. So I wasn't quite up to the same pace. I was maybe like a tenth off on the ovals. Um, Granted, I didn't really try it for. I tried it for maybe like a month, which may not be enough to get used to it. But I felt like I would have been at a disadvantage racing in peak versus guys that were on three screens and just able to see a lot more things and react faster to things. But other than that, though, it's the most fun I've had sim racing ever. So I might go back to that just for all the non-peak races and for the streaming.
Right. Right. Yeah, the triples, I mean, it gives you that full view and like the racing we were doing last night, where, like you said, it was real dynamic, three wide pack up front, everyone's switching lanes and stuff. I mean, you need that peripheral vision in that kind of racing, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the next the Rift 2.0 or the Rift 2, I'm not sure what it's called or what it's going to be called, which is I think it's like a year away.
Yeah.
It's going to have 140 FOV, so that's going to help a lot. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think that the Rift S is coming out soon here in the next few weeks. So just a little bit of an improvement of the current Rift, which I might look into getting that for like I said, the streaming and things like that. But that's not going to have any FOV improvements or anything. So I think that'll be the main thing I'm looking forward to, and the resolution also going up.
Okay. Um, what track are you looking forward to this season the most?
Well, normally I would say that'd be Indy. That's my favorite track. But this year everything's so different with massive draft and low horsepower and massive downforce. It's just taken a while to really get used to how the cars drive because it's so different from everything in the past, and it doesn't really match my driving style, so I'm having to adjust quite a bit to it.
Right. All right. Very good. Let's jump to what about the draft and the Wood Brothers? I mean, when we heard about the draft, we were like, wow, what is this? What was your initial reaction? What did you think about the draft? And then what did you think about, getting that legendary 21?
Yeah, well, we didn't really know much about it. We were kind of I mean, basically in January is when we started, or late December, I guess we started hearing something about it, but we were kind of kept in the dark for a really long time as they were trying to get everything put together. And I think we only got the order of the actual draft maybe a couple days before it actually happened. Um, so I had several people kind of tell me, hey, if we pick first, we're gonna pick you. So I was like, cool, man, but we have, you guys don't know what the order is gonna be or anything like that. Um, so yeah, I pretty much only knew that I was gonna go to the Wood Brothers maybe for like a couple days once everything was finalized. But it was pretty hectic there for the off season.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, that's definitely, I think, the ride to get during that draft. And it's kind of cool that you got it. It's been fun watching Wood Brothers interact with you on Twitter a little bit. John Wood, I think, is the guy running the Twitter handle over there. Have you talked to him, or who have you talked to from the team?
Yeah, it's been mainly John. As far as he's organizing this whole thing, or he's the driving force behind it. And yeah, it's been fun. He's very up to date on meme on meme culture. So
Oh, yeah, he's
so
got a game for sure.
yeah, so it's plays right into the social media. But you know, it's just really cool. You know, driving the 21 car and the whole history of essentially the oldest team in the Cup Series, I believe. You know, they've been there from the start, so it's really awesome. You know, running for the Wood Brothers, and you know, it's a shame we haven't gotten off to a very good start, but I'm looking forward to changing that soon.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of John, and I think he does a great job over there of, uh, you know, bringing that old team into 2019, with social media and whatnot. He does a great job. But anyway, what do you think about the up and comers that, in the Peak Series? I mean, it's a lot different than it was, a couple years ago, and there's a lot of new faces and a lot of people are running up front. I mean, what do you think about these guys and how? Uh, and the second part of that question is, looking ahead. I mean, what will this series look like in 5 years now that we've had our first draft?
Yeah, I'm not really even sure what it's going to look like in 6 months once the season ends, because
Right,
we don't know what next year's deal is. We don't know if there's going to be another draft or if we're just going to stay in the same teams or if it's going to be like open market. So we're not really sure. So you know, we're just kind of taking it one race at a time, one year at a time. But yeah, the series is super competitive. You know, everybody's giving it 110%. Stakes are really high. You know, it's $40,000 to the champion. So and the car, you know, the car has made it to where it's wide open for a few laps, so everybody's really close together at a lot of these tracks, and it's just super competitive. Really hard to pass. Nobody gives anybody an inch, nor is an inch expected from anybody. So you know, it's created a lot of close finishes and uh, you know, exciting racing. Not for us, but for the whole series.
right, right. I mean, yeah, with the peak races, and it seems like they've been piling them up a lot too. I mean, a lot of wrecks at the end, and but boy, and that's just I think an outcome of that close racing. Everybody's together.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're never gonna match um, I guess the real world net code. You know, the you can always make a lot more contact in real life without any issues, and it's incredible how close we can race on the internet without having issues. And you know, where we were like 15 years ago in 2K3, where you just barely touched somebody and they went spinning like 3 times before they hit the wall, and now you can really race side by side, close together. But you know, there's always going to be some issues with the internet here and there, which causes you know the wrecks we've seen. But I mean, I think it's been pretty clean considering the kind of racing we're doing.
Right. Now, so many things are different with peak this year, and you have a unique perspective because you've won the championship so many times. You were just there in Homestead, and um, when let's say you win again this year, and you go to Homestead again, what's going to be different than the previous times?
It's gonna be $30,000 more.
Aha, there you go.
Yeah, that's
That's
what's
what
gonna be
counts.
different, and it's gonna be the last race. I guess the last championship year at Homestead. So that's
Right.
kind of, I mean, for me that kind of sucks because it's my home track, and I've been used to going there. I've gone every year there since 2005, which was my first ever race. So you know, it's kind of gonna it's gonna suck having that race like randomly in March, but you know, if we get to go to Phoenix, or you know, if they start changing the final race every year, like there's rumor that it might happen, it'll be interesting. But yeah, that's gonna be the biggest difference. It's just the series is a lot bigger, there's a lot more money, and you know, and everybody's just trying really hard to win the championship.
That reminds me. Now you posted a picture of a race you went to in the past where you were standing at the 21 car, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was in 2015. A few of us on Wait, no, that was yeah, 2015 at Homestead, the finale. So we went with our team, Slip Angle Motorsports, and just I mean, Homestead has become kind of like a sim racing meetup. You know, final race of the year, a lot of sim racers go there. But you know, especially from our team, and the picture I think is my teammate Chris Overland, who's actually also racing for the Wood Brothers, and we were next to the 21 car, and we just so happened to get that picture, so it kind of came around full circle.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, back in 2015, you would have never thought, oh, 4 years from now, I'll be racing this car virtually.
Yeah, no, I did not think that.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We'll talk about slip angle a little bit. I mean, Chris is obviously there with you at Wood Brothers, but who else is on your team? What makes your car go besides you, Ray?
Yeah, well, I mean, the team was formed in 2014 by Lisa Pineda, Brian Blackford, and myself. Lisa is, team owner slash PR, marketing, and she does a lot behind the scenes to help us just to help our brand and help us be professional and how to attract sponsors and things like that. And and Brian, he was a long time driver in the Peak Series, and he fell off a couple years ago, and he's trying to make it back now. And I'm pretty confident he'll get back in there. And right now, my teammates, we have 5 drivers in the Peak Series. It's myself and Chris Overland, Brandon Cattell, Nick Shelton, and Jake Nichols, who you were racing last night in that server.
Yeah, you just barely beat me.
Yeah, so you guys had a good race for the win, and and overall we have more guys and gals in the lower series. It's a pretty big team overall, and it's just a good atmosphere, and everybody knows how to have fun, but everybody also knows how to how to put together a good I guess how to be professional and how to do things right, which a lot of the teams in the past have struggled with in sim racing, not knowing how to balance the just having a good time versus being too serious about it. Um, I think we have the right balance. Like everybody enjoys being around each other, and but we also know how to get the job done.
All right, very good. Yeah, I would say a veteran team for sure. Yeah, we weren't sure how that was going to work out with the teams like yours, and now it's all of a sudden Wood Brothers. But luckily you and Chris are on the same Wood Brothers, so that's kind of nice. So, I mean, what did you initially think? Did you think like, I'm going to have to not work with these guys anymore, or what was your thought?
Yeah, well, I had some say, and Chris being in there, I definitely wanted one of my slip angle teammates as a teammate. That would have just made it, it just makes it a lot easier. I know there are drivers that they're paired with somebody who's not in their own team, so they're not even working together.
Right, that's what I'm referring to.
Everybody still has their own sim racing team, and essentially the esports teams we're representing them in the series, but we're not like teammates working together. But in my case, I am actually working with Chris, and he's got everything I got, and I got everything he has as far as the setup goes. So that's it's very smooth, and I mean the testing and things like that are not weird, and not that it's weird for the other drivers. Everybody just kind of knows that people have their own teams or whatnot. But there's a few other teams I think that have. I think the junior motorsports guys also work together, Conti and Davies,
Right, right.
and the Williams Esports, Busa and Schoenberg. They work together also. I think with Conti and Davies. So those guys they're all a team, and they're all like split up into 2 different teams.
Yep, yep. Lots of cross pollination there and whatnot. But all right, well, very good. Let's talk about your social media. I mean, you talk about your Twitch. I mean, you got going on Twitch. I looked at it last night after the race and saw you all pile up there. But tell everyone how they can follow.
Yeah, so social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is Ray Alfala, and Twitch.tv/Ray Alfala. So, I'm pretty active on all those social media stuff. Instagram, not so much. I mean, recently I've gotten back into it, but I was off for like 3 or 4 years. But I'm pretty active on Facebook and Twitter, and yeah, getting the Twitch stuff on. It's pretty cool just looking at race replays and just trying to see what you did in certain situations, and it's a good way to do homework on yourself and your competitors, and just getting everybody else involved in the series and having people watch the races live. I think, I mean, in the past I used to get a GoPro and record myself racing and then upload it to YouTube, but that's always after the fact. there's something special about it happening live and people being able to interact with it as it's happening. So that's pretty awesome that Twitch is a thing.
Yep. I want to see him melt down or something.
Yeah, about that professionalism part. That's where that comes in.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for coming on. Third time on the show. You're certainly welcome back anytime. We've been rooting for you. Watch the classic Wood Brothers 21 out there, and it's been fun seeing that paint job on the track. And so, uh, welcome. Now we're going to talk about the peak race, but first, let's talk about the SRA League Sim Racing Authority, and the guy who beat me last night, Jake Nichols, took the win at the Sim Racing Authority iRacing Lounge podcast series on Sunday night Xfinity. Jake Nichols won the race. He was able to hold off Sabol for the stage win at lap 50, and Ben Nelson was third. Um, with around 60 laps to go, front runners Femi Olot, Freddie De La Rosa, and Nick Northrup were involved in an incident and ended their races. Ben Nelson would go on to defeat Jake Nichols with a late race pass. Okay, I misspoke. Jake Nichols won the stage win, but then Ben Nelson won the race with a late race pass on Jake Nichols as he led only 8 out of the 130 laps. Next week, Phoenix for the 7th race of the season. They got quite a league over there. Lots of big names. Ben Nelson, Jake Nichols. These guys are quick, man.
Yeah, some of those are teammates of mine, like Jake and Bobby last year. He was on Flip Angle, so I've heard a lot of good things about SRA, but I've never run a race myself.
Yep, yep. Check it out, guys. They are broadcasted too. So, all right, let's jump into the peak race and talk about that. Mason, tell us what you saw early on.
Yeah, so we were in Richmond, 200 laps, and we started at the sunset. Ryan Luza with the pole and dominated early. There were several cautions, first of which happened on lap 22, and then another one on lap 29 where Bobby Zelensky got quite a bit of damage. A couple self spins causing these cautions.
Pretty regular too.
Yeah, and then we had a nice special guest here. Steve Letarte joined the broadcast to compare iRacing to the real life NASCAR and was quite complimentary of it.
Now, I kind of missed the beginning. I was at work, but did Steve call the race like he's calling a race like he does for
Yes.
NBC?
He was actually color commentating just as if it was watching in NBC.
Awesome. Michael Waltrip did that the other day with that one race, and when Steve Letarte started his team, I twittered him and said, "Dude, you need to get in the peak booth and call one of these peak races."
Yeah, there was a caution right as he was talking, and he actually called it, which was pretty cool. Um, but then we had, speaking of the cautions, we had Clampett took the lead after a couple more cautions, and but then he did scrape the wall, and Blake Reynolds and Keegan Lee he blasted past for first and second. Some close racing caused more cautions at the end. People checking up and just getting run over. And finally, at the end, we had a 6 to go restart and or a caution 6 to go, which had a last lap restart. And Keegan Lee he hit the wall and dumped Garrett Lowe. But Blake Reynolds got a strong run in second with Ryan Luzo winning.
Wow, Ryan is hot, hot, hot. Now, Ray, we didn't mention your name at all there. What was your race about? I mean, you can't follow it because they don't follow nothing but the leaders. But I mean, what was your race?
Yeah, well, that's probably uh, I was really angry after that race. That's one of the most flustered moments for that I've been after a race in a really long time. Mostly because I felt like I made some pretty good moves during the race and put myself in position as there were several guys getting involved in crashes and things like that, and I kept my car clean for almost the whole race, and then had a car just get a little bit loose in front of me. He checked up, and I ran into the back of him, and that made my car overheat. And then we went for like a 30 lap run, and I basically had to go around there clutching into the corners, right foot braking, and just being in the way and dropping back to 20th. So I was very heated after that race. Actually, I went and worked out after the race. That's how bad it was. At midnight, I went for a workout. So it was not a great result, and I thought we were in a really good spot there. We had fresher tires than like the entire top six, and we were running eighth with like 50 to go. And tires are very, very important. We, uh, Luza was pretty dominant early, and he was on like 10 lap older tires than some guys in the middle of the race, and they all just basically motored by.
Right.
So we knew we were at a pretty big advantage once we had those tires, but unfortunately, we got caught up in something really silly, and a lot of the guys that were involved in crashes early in the race got past us and beat us. So that was not the greatest of races for us.
No. You've had what I would say maybe some bad racing luck. Would you call that this year so far?
Yeah, I mean, you make most of your luck, and most of it is just if you run up front, you're less likely to get caught up in stuff. Where if you run in the middle of the pack, you're just statistically more likely to be around more cars. So we haven't been qualifying very well. Just the car sometimes doesn't have the speed. Sometimes it's me that's messing up. I know at Richmond, I kind of knew my lap wasn't very good, but I didn't think it was bad enough to reset. I know a lot of the drivers, including Luza, he reset. He gave up on lap one and then got the pole on lap two. I decided not to do that, so I started 13th. Um, and I mean, most of the season, we've just been involved in some stuff that's been out of our control, but other times it's just a little bit of lack of speed. So everybody's working really hard to find speed, and it's kind of one of those things where if you don't find it, you have no idea how to find it, and then you do find it, and you don't know how you never found it before because it's usually just like some simple stuff.
Right, right.
Well, if you find it, feel free.
I mean, but that race, the peak race, yeah, it looked like NIS. I mean, it was just wreck after wreck, at least through the first part of it. 10 lap run, 12 lap run, that kind of thing.
You know what, though? I was really impressed with Blake Reynolds. He and Keegan Leahy had quite the battle at the end. They raced side by side for at least 10, 15 laps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Blake was really fast on the long run. He passed a lot of drivers coming up through there after on a long run there, and I think he would have had something for Ryan had it not. I mean, these races are always just going to kind of turn into a wreck fest if you have. I mean, we had our long green flag run, and it's one of those like if it goes green for a really long time, it can just go green forever. But if you have one crash with like 50 to go, then that's it. It's all over because everybody's trying really hard and can't make contact as well as you can in the real world. So that's the kind of stuff that happens towards the end of the races.
all right. All right. Well, that was the peak race. Talladega next. We talked about that a little bit. So good luck, Ray. We're always pulling for you here at the iRacers Lounge, and hope you have a great season.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I gotta get out of here, but before I'll just do a little sponsor plug for Virtual Racing School.
Yes.
If you guys are looking to improve your driving, we have a lot of drivers on there, a lot of World Championship drivers on there, and in the series includes Keegan Leahy, Bobby Zelensky, and myself. We give coaching and data packs, which are basically we show how to drive around the track and how to, just what we go through when we're testing and how to improve as a driver and one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you're interested in just improving your driving and how to go fast on iRacing, check out virtualracingschool.com. But thank you for having me, guys. And maybe the next time I'll be back here, I'll have visited Victory Lane more recently.
Yeah, we do bring good luck, and that's been known to happen. So, yeah, good luck out there. All right, thank you. Now, David, let's jump into stories. You're up first.
Well, the first story is a little discussion about that a member posted asking for some sound to be added for ABS. A lot of the vehicles, especially on the roadside, have ABS features, and there are some force feedback options, but no sound. He put in a request, and the staff responded that that's something they'd like to add. I don't think it's highest priority, but they're looking at it.
All right. I noticed, recently the sounds with the starter, and turning on the ignition to the car. I mean, that was recently added, but this would be nice to have the anti-brake sounds. I guess I don't know what those are. I'd have to hear them, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really run GT3s very often. Once you get up to the GTE or any of the prototypes, they don't have ABS, so all you get is a light that lights up, and you can hear your tires screeching if you lock them up.
I think what they gotta kind of do is make the chattering sound with your tires. It's more of like a tire squealing sound, like on-off sound.
Clickety click.
If you do it in a real car, you hear that. Definitely, it's kind of a kind of thing.
Right.
So go test that out in your car.
I just did yesterday.
What are you got, a Corolla?
No, an Altima. Somebody just flat out pulled out in front of me. I mean, I had to slam hard.
And so did you chatter the brakes or did you flat spot your tire?
It's got ABS, so it chattered them.
Yeah. All right, good. Good thing you had ABS. All right, Chris, tell us what's next. Sign thief.
Next was a tweet by iRacing. This is about a week and a half old, but you can probably find this by Twitch user Balkan3D. That's a little clip they posted, and he's racing at Silverstone, and a guy has a sign stuck to the front of his car and goes flying by him. And he's live streaming, so it is kind of one of those funny things to catch on a live stream. And I think he almost wrecked it, laughing so hard. And this guy just flying by him with a sign stuck to his bumper.
Yeah, and he didn't slow him down, man. That guy was going for it still, and that sign wasn't coming off. I mean,
no, it wasn't one of the little ones either. I don't know how he saw. I wish we could have got a video from his in-car. I don't even know I could see the drive.
now, lots of times at Bristol, somebody in the cup car will get the cone, but you can't keep it on your car for very long. It'll fall off. But this one, yeah, he couldn't get rid of it. All right, Greg, top 10 for March.
So the March top 10's out again for that month, and it's got some pretty good highlights for this month. I don't know, what'd you guys think of the top 10? It was just normal good finishes and close finishes and 3 wide battles that they were showing. The one that got me was the 10 one though, when he goes through the grass to pass everybody in the Porsche.
Yeah. I like the one where they go around a blind corner and somebody's blocking the track and he has to try to miss it. I think number 7, but yeah, like it's crazy. He goes around the corner and there's like this little tiny hole to get through and you just squeeze through there. But I don't know, I always get excited watching these videos because it just makes me want to go racing. It's fun.
Well, yeah, and you think about some of these series you don't normally run, like the asphalt sprints, and you wonder what it'd be like. So,
yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. I saw that video. I was like, man, I want to run that.
Well, and there's what is it? The Audi. What's that series? The older Audi car and the I can't think of the other car what it is, but I'm just watching it right now. I think it's number 8. But those are old vintage cars racing, and it's looked like a good league battle or a good race battle.
Cup.
Yeah, that's what it is, Campbell Cup.
Yeah, that's a car that looks like a wedge. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, David, Beta UI VR update coming #soon.
Yeah, they won't give out the specific information, but or as far as timing, but they're working on it with fixing several of the login issues, particularly for VR. They're going to be working on making it that you can use the website Beta UI and only launch when you're ready to go into the actual web server, which is definitely the biggest complaint that a lot of people have. I know for me, I don't like to have the headset on except for when I'm racing. If you watch my stream, you'll see me having it set on top of my head a lot because it's easier to look at the monitors and just a little bit more convenient. So #soon.
Yeah, he says, we're not ready to share timing yet, but it is currently all hands on deck to make this change. So major overhaul to the Beta UI coming is what he says.
I wonder if that's the June build that they're doing that in.
Yeah, that's probably reasonable to say, yeah. All right, Mason, tell us about SMP.
All right, so this is on the Pimax 5K plus SPS on, PP off. thread on the forums, and it was a post, an answer by Sean Nash regarding SMP/SPS, and he says we're adding true 3-screen multi-projection for GTX 2000 series video cards at the moment to be released next season. With this, you can have 3 screens without the current SMP defects and limits. You can go all the way up to 175 degrees FOV and have side screens at the full tilt angles and other issues that they were fixing. So 2080s really have a much more advanced version of SMP SPS all around than the 1080s.
So interesting.
I don't necessarily understand all of that, but it sounds good.
It sounds like that's a reason to have a 2080 over a 1080. Because of the advanced version of SMP and SPS. You know, when you have multi-projection checked in graphics, your FOV gets limited a little bit because of that. And so he's saying if you have one of these cards, it can go as high as 175 because it's a GTX 2000 that takes advantage of those features.
True, and it seems that right now the workaround is to have parallel project off and SPS on, and that will smooth the frame rate for now.
All right. Tony Rochette, June is too soon. AI.
Yeah, the AI apparently is not going to be in the June build, according to a post in the AI Q&A forum from Alex Horn. He also chimed in about he's going to ask for a progress video for the AI.
Not
That
likely
sucks.
for June.
But they said it was gonna be more fall for that they were gonna bring that out anyways. This is not something new. I remember last time they didn't say they thought it was gonna be later on in the year.
Yeah.
Just sucks. It doesn't need. I'm sure it'll have that iRacing level of polish when it comes out. I just kind of wish they just let us play with it. They had thousands of
Maybe
beta
one
testers.
car.
Yeah, it's not going to screw up anybody's race. I mean, put it on the beta UI when they fix it, and that'll force us to use that and try that out or something. Yeah,
Don't
let's
give
play
them
with
ideas.
Or just drop, make it available in tests.
it. I need it for restarts, man. I'm terrible at restarts. That'd be so helpful to practice.
Without the stress of having to wreck somebody, right?
I need it right now because I'm terrible in the whole race.
All right,
good
so
to practice.
now somebody in the chat right before the show found something else about the June build that's not in the script, but who found that and what is it?
Barcelona and Silverstone are being worked on for the F1 cars
For the June build.
They're trying to get it out for the June build, and they said with Silverstone, if it's not ready by the June build, they'll probably release it as a standalone patch as soon as it's ready.
They won't
instead of
wait,
waiting
yeah.
for the next build.
Well, the Silverstone is just they already have Silverstone. They just have to put it in the new configuration that it is, and after they rescanned it, because they've changed the track.
Didn't they change it again?
Yeah.
It's gone through several iterations, and the current one that we just ran a couple of weeks ago, I don't remember if it was IMSA or Le Mans series, but we were just there, and everybody was complaining that it was the old track.
Well, they had to redo it after the MotoGP bikes or something couldn't race on it because of the way they had designed it for the F1 cars.
There's your link.
All right. Check the show notes, guys. We do a lot. Everything is linked there, so everything we're talking about you can find. Tony, you're next. Tell us about Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s niece.
I was wondering who this was. Okay, so that's making heck of a lot more sense. Well, Karsten Elledge, and she's extremely thankful to iRacing for sponsoring her her midget car for her race at Kokomo. A pretty damn nice looking car too. I got to looking a little further into it. She wasn't overly happy with her finishes, but she was still grateful and put a nice positive note that, hey, you got to have nights like that to be able to appreciate the good ones. So, good on her for a good attitude and if nothing else, at least being in a great looking midget car.
Yeah. Paint job looks pretty good. I mean, it's not the same as Christopher Bell's, but it's different. It's more of a blue base, but I like it.
Tony, you obviously don't listen to the Dale Jr. download, eh?
I have not as of recently. Nope, guilty as charged.
He usually talks about her on it every once in a while, so he did this week.
He had his nephew on recently as a guest, actually.
All right, well, that's cool to see iRacing, sponsoring drivers out there. Okay, we have kind of lost track of what's his name, Ty Majeski. I think he's just gone back to late models and stuff, but it's too bad he couldn't find some sponsorship for NASCAR. But all right, let's talk. Next one is Skippy. I'll take this one. There is a message from Steve Myers on the forums because there was a thread asking, did the Skippy car change? And he said there was an update on that car because we had a package that we tested on the release branch that we decided to back out. Because the package file existed on the new version.txt file was created. So nothing to see here. We are testing updates to the car and we hope to get it out in a patch soon.
There's a Skippy community that's pretty upset with the car right now because of the way it's driving.
Yeah, and then there was a download of that car. You had to download an update to the car before you could drive it. And so everyone thought that they changed the car. But he's saying, no, we actually were going to change the car, but we decided not to. We backed out the change.
April Fools.
Yeah. Anyway, that happened. David, 24 hours of Nürburgring.
Okay, another one of the endurance races is coming up. No, we're passing on this one. I just don't think I have the brain to learn this track. It's a 16.1 mile track, 26 kilometers for you metric folk. It's at Nuremberg.
You mean you?
It's the combined tracks. No, I think miles in distance. Inside joke for the people who listen to the podcast. They get mad at me when I talk in Celsius. It's pretty much fallen into the same standard format that iRacing has kind of established for the big endurance races. There's going to be two times that it's run, one that's kind of more beneficial for Europeans and one that fits a little bit better for the Western Hemisphere. It's running at the combined track, so it's quite long. The sim start time is on May 4th at 2:30 in the afternoon. There's a 30-minute warm-up, 25-minute solo qualifying for 2 laps. And then the 24-hour race with dynamic weather. It's split by iRating, and it is a team event. They haven't set an incident limit. The field size is 55, and the field, if this is all GT3 cars, as well as the Global Mazda MX-5.
All right, get it, man. That's a tough track. That is a big one.
I want to see how the participation and the incident limits in there. I want to see how many people are actually going to participate in that.
It won't be as much as Le Mans. I mean, Le Mans is a big track too, but Le Mans is more legendary.
There's an exponential almost order of magnitude difference between 3 miles and 16 miles. In fact, that is an order of magnitude.
Yeah, that's true. But even 3 miles is hard to, get your brain wrapped around. And like you said, it's hard to get your brain wrapped around a 16-mile track. And you got to have that kind of memorized,
Yeah, 3 miles. It's long, but part of it is these huge. It's got 3 gigantic straights that are almost a mile each. I mean, so you're not learning that many more corners than you do on some of the other roads. I find Spa harder to learn than Le Mans.
Yeah. All right, very good. Mason, energy drinks.
Yeah, we had. I saw this video on one of the Facebook groups I follow. World Rally driver Louise Cook posted up a video of her seeing if energy drinks make you drive faster on iRacing. And she got in an open wheel car and went around, I forget which road course it was, but she was doing laps around the road course, and she beat her time without energy drinks on like the first lap after she had taken the energy drink. But then she could not keep the car under control because her inputs became a little jittery. So in the long run, it didn't pay off, but in the short run,
The
it gave her
simulator
the
down
boost
at
from
Quick
winning
Lane
one
is now
lap.
up and running. So if you're
All right. Do you guys drink energy drinks? What do you drink when you race? I just drink coffee.
Just Diet Dew.
There's
Energy
a
drinks
couple
are
of
the
times.
devil.
There's a couple of times when I've had the night shift in the 24-hour race, I actually drink some of my pre-workout because it's the only thing at my house that has caffeine.
Energy drinks are only good with vodka in them.
That's a Friday night special.
Is that a Red Bull and vodka?
Yep.
All right, Tony Rochette, Larson at Lanier's.
Yeah, Monday night, I guess Kyle Larson ran a hosted dirt street stock race at Lanier on iRacing. He's never ran one before. He qualified 20th. He finished third in his heat, and he went from 7th to win the feature. Hopefully, this will be some good luck for him because he's definitely had a bad year so far.
Pretty cool. He wins his first time out and the first time trying it. But he is a dirt racer, so. All right, Tony, NIS stress.
Yeah, boy, what a fitting topic for me to touch on, eh? Yeah, so Justin Prince posted up
That's a good one.
kind of well, let's just say he got himself
This is going to
pretty
be a good
stressed out
topic.
and almost seemed like he had a bit of an anxiety attack. He's probably like me, having a little bit of bad luck in the NIS. It seems to have kind of gotten the better of him, and he was just kind of reaching out and seeing if anyone else had experienced, similar stuff as him. And boy, oh boy, yeah, I can certainly say that. I don't think I've had one good race this season. Now, I can say personally for me, most of that's not because of racing or anything like that. But when when you're looking to kind of unwind from, from the crap from real world, you jump into a race and the last NIS race I ran one lap before I got totally demolished. It certainly doesn't help your stress levels. So much to the point where myself, I've had to kind of just take a break from NIS and just run some other things, just so I can have fun. Because ultimately, that's what this hobby is all about: is enjoying yourself and having fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of posts on this thread about people saying, hey, yeah, I get stressed running NIS too. And, one thing that Justin pointed out is it the limited amount of starts? Does it make it more pressure filled, knowing that, one mistake and, you have a bad week and that kind of thing? So there's a lot to it.
I'm kind of.
Well, it's sorry, Greg, but it's a long season. It's 36 weeks. You're pushing yourself, and you want to do good. Yeah, like you said, limited starts. Maybe you're only one of those guys that can run just once a week, and most of the time that's myself. I can only hit one start. So if you have a bad start, it's just like, what the hell? Like, you start questioning, like, why am I even doing this? This is dumb. But ultimately, you do it because it's fun and you love it.
Well, what I was gonna say there is it's kind of, you're just kind of pointed out on it there, Tony. Like I can maybe get 2 in a week, but one is about where I'm at too. And I know after last night, I don't know if the guys could hear it. They probably heard it on. I was leaving, but I was pretty frustrated with the way last night's race had gone and the way Bristol had gone the week before. I don't know. I was having that problem today when I was at work. I just was thinking about the bad race, and I shouldn't be you shouldn't be carrying that afterwards. It's it should be something where you're just enjoying it, and it's done, and I used to be that way, but I think that was because I was getting more starts. The one a week is probably causing me to be a little bit more weary about it too.
So let's look at this the other way. I mean, yes, this post is almost 2 pages long of people talking about their experiences or this, that, and the other thing. And like Greg, you said yourself that you're thinking about it the next day as you're trying to make your way through your work day, and I'm sure we've all done that. Like, holy crap, we log into the internet, we do this, fake racing, but it's gripped us so tightly. We can't get it out of our minds. Like it's pretty wild when you kind of break it down like that.
Well, I think that's the answer. I mean, it's really not fake racing, it's real racing, even though technically it is fake racing, but it's real in the fact of it reminds me of back in the day when I was a kid. I used to watch ABC Wide World of Sports, and at the beginning, Howard Cosell would say the beauty of winning and the agony of defeat, and that's really what this is all about. Is yes, there's a lot of good high spots. Uh, like last night when I ran that carb cup race and I almost beat all those peak guys and I finished second. I was leading with two to go, and I was like stoked after that. I was like, "Holy crap! I can run with these guys," and that was like a big moment for me. But on the other hand, you have these agony of defeat, like you said, when you get wrecked on lap one on your only start of the week, and you're trying to run for points, and that really is a agony of defeat. And I think that's really what it's about. Is this is a sport, we're participating in a sport, and this is why we have feelings about it.
Yeah, absolutely. The emotion is definitely real. Like the high and the highs, right? Your heart's pumping when you're leading a race, or you five to go and you're almost there, and your heart's just pumping out of your freaking chest, and you're trying to keep yourself calm so you don't wreck the damn thing. It's crazy. I've never experienced anything else uh, quite like this. It's wild, man.
Well, I was just thinking there too while we were talking about it. There was, to use one of our teammates, he had a week where he's like, what, I'm about to sell my whole rig and all that stuff and didn't want to race anymore. And then the next day he goes out and wins a race and he feels, 100% better. Like there's so many different changes, like you were saying, the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. But there's sometimes you just got to find that spot in the in between where you can just enjoy it.
And that's where I found Old Bastard Racing League, because there's my happy place.
There you go.
I find my balance through the fact that it's not the only thing I do. I mean, I do race a lot, but it's not the only thing I do. I have a good career going, and have a blast going to the gym every day too. So like, if I have a bad race, I know I can still go pick things up and put them down, or I know I'm gonna go get to spend the move the baton and make some music with some kids the next day. So I get hot headed in the moment, but I can basically 10 minutes later basically have forgotten the race has happened.
Yeah. Tony Rochette and I were talking about Richmond. We were holding our breath in the corners. We're sitting at a computer, not doing anything. And Tony, why are we holding our breath?
You don't want to wreck.
But I mean, that's how much you're up on the wheel. Is you get down in one and two, and you want to be so precise, and you're so up on it that you hold your breath because you don't want to have that one little jitteration because you're breathing out.
Oh yeah, and your heart rate's up, and you're sweating, and you're shaking, and everything else, and
So it can be a good thing, but it can go bad too. So find that balance, guys. All right, Greg, World of Outlaw.
Okay, so it looks like Alex Bergeron won at Lima Land here, so we're going to the page here. iRacing has a nice little spread about it. And man, just looking at it, we haven't heard him in the news for a while. I mean, we haven't really been covering the World of Outlaws much on here, but they have a nice little write-up here on the iRacers page, and the pictures are, I wanted to get into these cards, but haven't gotten into it much. But what do you guys think? He's still killing it out there.
The kid is on fire. I mean, there's no beating him right now. So Alex Bergeron getting it done. Good job to him. I did watch the video afterwards up on the big screen, and I was entertained. It was fun to watch. A lot of 2 and 3 wide racing. A great track.
You one of the best. You got
3 lines. lines were really working, and you could be in the top, middle, or
Sorry
bottom,
about that. It's pretty
and
loud.
at different parts of the race, different lines would be faster. And you really have to kind of pay attention to the broadcast to really see that. I mean, you can't just be casually watching. You really have to focus to kind of see those things, and I did, and it was kind of fun to watch. All right, Chris, trading paints.
So the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to explain iRacing's new update with the numbers and what you need to do in trading paints to see your numbers and all that good stuff. And Justin Rowden created a really good guide that explains this stuff. So if you go on the forums and search for Justin Rowden, or just check out the show notes for a link to that. It's much better explained than what we could do.
It's all in how you name the file. You know, you do car underscore and then the number, or you do car underscore NUM underscore and then the number. And so with the NUM, that's the one with the custom number. So like if you're Ray and you're driving the Wood Brothers 21, you're gonna permanently paint that 21 onto your paint. And you would name that paint as car underscore num underscore and then your number.
I think there's a lot of people who are trying to get around the having to use Pro. I was behind a car just last night, and I could see his proper number, and then I could see another number tucked underneath it.
So what that is that the person doesn't know what they're doing, and they painted their own custom number, and they uploaded it to Trading Paints free. And that's what happens if you do that. You end up with a car that gets double stamped. And so you have to have Trading Paints Pro if you're going to upload a custom number paint. Otherwise, you cannot have a custom number on your paint. All right, I got the next one, Stat Plotter. This is the coolest little website I've ever seen. It was pretty cool. The website is shiny.linnalluoto.eu. But anyway, if you go there, it gives you a iRating distribution of all the iRacers and where their iRating sits via road or oval. And you can kind of see where you stand in this bell curve, so to speak. So Mason, am I explaining this right? We kind of talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out, and I didn't have much luck. But yeah, it does. If you choose the right setting, you can see if you choose the win rate / iRating setting, and you search by like United States, you can search just by United States drivers, and then click on a point, and it'll tell you what drivers fit into that iRating and wins per start category.
Oh yeah, the win rate / iRating. Yeah, this is kind of neat because it does a plot of everybody, and you can kind of see where you land as far as your iRating versus your wins divided by number of starts. And what I was telling you was, if you click on the dots that are up above everybody else that are kind of out in the peripheral, those are the aliens, okay? And so if you click on the one over here that's like way up in the air, you know, that happens to be Ty Majeski, and then this one is Tyler Majeski, and then there's this other guy, Joseph McClure, and then there's like all these different ones. Like there's Mitchell DeJong, like he's one of those aliens that's kind of outside of everybody else, and so you can actually click on the dot and see who it is. There's Gregor Hutu. His iRating is 9,925, and his winning percentage is 0.5. And so kind of neat to play with this website and kind of click around and see what who the aliens are. And it's also kind of neat to find your own name. So like if you click down in the blue where everybody is, you'll see a list of where you clicked, and like it'll show you all the drivers around that spot. And so
yeah, it's interesting to see who I clicked on the combined road and oval. So comparing their oval iRating and their road iRating, and Logan Clampett is the highest combined.
Yeah, he's
What
the
is
alien,
it combined?
Right? He has road 8170, oval 9267.
Wow.
And who are the other aliens? Ray Alfala, there's one of them. Bobby Zielinski, he's another one. Michael Conti, Tyler Hudson. Yeah, the usual suspects.
Is there a, while we're talking, you keep bringing it up. Do we think we need to retire the word alien from sim racing now that it's become such a huge thing and these guys are just pros? Like alien just seems so back when there was so many hacks and stuff like that. It's now, not, this isn't a hacking type thing, right?
No, it's not a hacking thing at all. I don't know. My definition of that is somebody who's just abnormally faster than everybody else.
They're on another planet. They're an alien.
Yeah. And how they
yeah 3/10 faster than anybody.
Could be cheating. Could be that they're just damn good.
So does that mean Kyle Busch is an alien now in NASCAR?
Yeah, he's definitely an alien. Definitely. Because his stats, if you would stack them up on a plot like this, like we're looking at here, he would be one of the outstanding dogs for sure.
Well, I guess compared to like someone like Chase Elliott or something like that, he would be an alien, right? Starts to wins ratios.
Right, exactly. Anyway, check that website out. It's kind of fun. It actually worked on my iPhone too, and there's several different things you can look at, like the combined road and oval. They actually have a safety rating distribution graph as well. That's kind of interesting to look at. All right, David, Porsche Super Cup is coming. This is our new $100,000 prize that replaced the F1 championship, right?
Yes, they're kicking it off this weekend at Barber Motorsports Park. They're running the 911 GT3 Cup. It's a 10-race season, and it's got an interesting format. There's going to be a qualifying, and then an 8-car inversion sprint race, and then after that, a full-length 30-minute race. So it's split into kind of 3 segments. Each of those segments paying points, and you can get up to like 160 points if you have a perfect weekend. There's a list on the site that you can go check out. So who other drivers are? I took a glance at it. I've seen a few of those names on the track, and a large prize pool, just like I believe it is the $100,000 prize pool, just like NASCAR Peak. It's gonna be interesting. Also, the champion. I don't know if it's just the champion or some of the top drivers, but they're going to the Night of Champions Gala. It'll be the first time they have both sim racers and real life racers at the Night of Champions Gala.
Nice trip to Germany for free. All right, let's get into hardware software. Greg, Fanatec put out a nice video about their new product.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about this last week, but it looks like they're starting a need or what do you call it? Over the next couple weeks, it looks like they're going to be releasing videos that show what the everything, the features on their new direct drive systems all mean and all that stuff. It's kind of an in-depth look at it through multiple videos, and it looks like the sim racing girl is going to be talking about it in it. So it's a really nice video, and I can't wait to see what the reviews show for this when they come out.
It's good if you want to. It's a great video if you want to really get your eye on the product and see what it looks like. They really show it in a lot of different angles and a lot of different setups.
Or continue to salivate as you wait on your back order.
All right, let's keep moving.
I'm extremely happy though with the F1 rim that I got as a result of that. So it worked out for me in the long run.
All right, well, we'll see when you actually get your base, and then we'll see. All right, Chris, Swedish rig design.
Yeah, Swedish Rig Designs builds 80/20 rigs, and pretty reasonable prices, and they have a ton of options to kind of piecemeal your rig and make it your own. I mean, they have a ton of different pre-built options to choose from, but you can pretty much just start from scratch. They said they have everything you could want in 80/20, it seems.
Yeah, 80/20 pre-built rigs. And Mason, what do you think about the price? Is this competitive? I mean, you just bought a rig, 80/20 rig.
Yeah, I do think it is competitive. It's set up a little bit different, so I'd be curious to see how it would feel. I mean, the base is essentially the same. It's the wheel mount and the pedals that are set up just a little bit differently. They have more 80/20 on them than like a separate manufactured piece. So that I'm curious to see how the wheel would mount, like how you get the right mounting things.
Right.
I
And it
wonder.
doesn't have an integrated stand either. It's a separate stand.
Wonder if it comes with instructions, right, Mason?
Well, we'll get to that.
That's an inside joke.
All right, so the website is SwedishRigDesigns.com. First time I've heard of them, but their products look good. I mean, from what I see here, I mean, you can get a regular, rig here at 550 euros.
Even if you're just looking at it here, you kind of get an idea how you want to set one up if you really wanted to build one. It's kind of a good view of how it lays out.
Yeah, if you're looking for ideas, yeah. Yeah, check it out. All right, let's keep moving. David, Valve to release their VR HMD in May.
Yeah, there you go. In May, we covered this a while back when they first started leaking some of the folders and photos in development. It's now showing on the Steam page. You can see that it's available coming in May. There's not a whole lot of other information other than a couple of leaked images, and you can see some kind of slider on the bottom one that probably adjusts the iris position. It looks like a VR headset. Not a whole lot of details.
I was kind of wondering how this will compete with the new Rift stuff coming and whatnot. It looks like it's going to be a very busy marketplace.
It's hinting to support a 135-degree field of view, which is 25 more than the Rift and Vive.
I did want to respond to the field of view thing. I actually, we heard an interview recently on another podcast with Marcus Ambrose, who's a real life driver, and I've had the helmet on and done the experience thing, and seeing how wide you can see, and I know the online experience is a little bit different because we're relying on different spotters, but the field of view on the VR, it is what you see in real life, and I really most of the time when I'm driving, I don't. Even with the field of view I have on my Rift, I don't really look to the right or left that much. Occasionally, I will take a peek to see if I've got the momentum on a straight or if the other guy does. But I just don't think that field of view is a limiting factor. I think screen door is a factor, but I think the field of view is enough. And for the immersion, I still love it.
Yeah, but with the new goggles that are coming, I mean, I think hopefully FOV will be wide enough, and the screen door will hopefully be gone, and then that takes away those issues,
Mm-hmm.
right?
One of the big it will help, but again, I don't know that I really need that much wider of a field of view, because if you have the real helmet on, you're not seeing any wider than what you're seeing in that VR headset. One advantage I do have, me and Mason are talking about it all the time, I can see my feet when I'm racing, and so I can see all my gauges, and I have a couple of floating windows as well from sim racing apps to keep up with everything and so it works out for me pretty well, I think. And I'm biased, but it's just I prefer the VR thing, and I don't think that the field of view is the big limiter.
All right. Well, one quick note on this headset that I was kind of disappointed with, because it has a lot of really good stats, but they decided to go with the external sensors again, which is not a huge deal for iRacing, but I don't know, that's kind of a deal breaker for me when they have headsets where you don't have to deal with those. I think you get a little bit better resolution, but I think that kind of sucks.
Yeah, the external sensors are really put a strain on your USB hub. You put too many things and too much bandwidth on a USB, and it doesn't USB so well.
All right, next up, Rochette, Kill Switch, Engage.
Yeah, there was an announcement on the forums there that there's going to be a kill switch coming for the direct drive, Fanatec direct drives. Announcement will be coming out in about 2 weeks, and shipment should be around launch date, which is the 30th of April, David?
31st is when they're supposed to ship. or 30th, I guess. There isn't an April 31st, is there?
No, it's the 30th.
No.
But that was by Thomas. It's Jagmeyer, right?
Yeah, he's the guy behind
he's
Fanatec.
Yeah, he's the guy that runs that stuff and is always talking about it.
So he's going to sell mounting brackets and a kill switch to go with the DD1. So you guys that are ordered the DD1, you probably need a way to mount it, and you probably want to get that kill switch. David, I was thinking you should get the kill switch just for safety. What do you think?
Probably, yeah. I do have the mounting bracket for the base itself to go on my desk.
Okay.
If I end up staying that route, I've I've bought a cushion that's made it actually really easy to sit for longer periods of time with my office chair. That's an issue. That's the comfort issue when you get to be an old fart like me. But I ran like 150 laps in our endurance race this weekend with Mark. He ended up having something that come up, and he ran basically 2 stints, and I ran the rest of the 6 hours. And I never got uncomfortable, so I feel like I can stick with my desk as long as the keyboard drawer that I use to hold my wheel will survive. But I don't plan on turning the force feedback up that high. I plan on hoping for the sensitivity and the resolution, but I don't need it ripping my arms off.
Yeah, I don't know if your desk will hold that.
David's a strong guy.
So you don't wear sleeves in most of your streams. You can't not crank that thing up. We gotta see that flexing, man.
Yeah, but there's no point in having to work so hard that I don't need to be trying to drive like Chase Elliott at not Richmond, Bristol.
Yeah, I take it easy on that one for sure, since you're getting one of the first ones. It's like a break anyway.
My question is, why are they only offering it for one of the DDs? Why wouldn't they?
The DD2.
Oh, did it? Okay, I missed that part.
Yeah, the only difference is, my understanding is, the price between DD1 and DD2 is the kill switch, and then 5 more nano whatever meters of force, even though it's the same engine. So they're doing some kind of limiting on the DD1 to limit the amount of force, and they're not on the DD2. And it comes with the kill switch, and then there's a warranty between either 2 years or 5 years. So DD1 is 2 years and DD2 is 5.
Now the other thing is I'm wondering if, because this kill switch is being added now afterwards, I'm wondering if this is something that they had to figure. I mean, obviously the other direct drives have kill switches, but maybe this is something that they've had to add in at something that they've found in their testing.
I don't think so. I mean, they always included it with DD2. It's just that it wasn't included with DD1. They were going to sell it separately, and now people are wondering, well, hey, you're about ready to ship. How do we get them? And so that's what this is about, I think. But let's keep moving. Mason, next one is the SimLab P1 review.
Yeah, so I purchased recently a SimLab P1 8020 chassis. I put a bunch of photos up in our Tifosi page of the boxes, the completed rig, and some kind of issues with the monitors I have. So I'll walk you through it real quick here. I have a link up to the SimLab P1 chassis that I ordered straight from SimLab. It came from the Netherlands, I believe. It came with all the A20 packaged up in those 3 boxes. And I ordered the integrated triple monitor mount with it as well, so that attaches right to the chassis. I don't have a separate stand. The assembly was interesting.
Now let's talk about that. I mean, when you first got it, you were like, yeah, I'm gonna tear down my current rig, I'm gonna get this set up, and we're gonna be running tonight. But that's not how it worked, right?
Yeah, it came at 6 o'clock. I feel like I was the last delivery for the UPS guy. So I was looking out the window the entire night waiting for it, and I had a race at 10, so I thought I was gonna get to it. But it took me a little bit, because I've never used these kind of screws with the corner, or the like you slide them down in the railing of the 8020 and then you screw into it. So I never used those. So that was part of the learning process. And although the rig is fantastic and everything is solid and completely customizable and all the fantastic things about it, the instruction manual does leave a little bit to be desired. There was many times that I had to tear it apart and put it back together again. But
How many
but
times did you actually tear it apart? Because we heard it all through the whole day. How many times you tore it apart?
At least
the
5.
the biggest one was when I put the wrong rails under the seat. The ones that I put under the seat had threads drilled into them, and I needed those for the pedal mounts. So I would say at least 5.
We missed the vote on starting a betting pool on how many times you were going to have to start over.
but it's good.
Did you take it apart for fun one of the times just to learn?
Kind of. The actual like chassis part without the monitors was, once I got rolling, it wasn't terrible as far as like deciding where I wanted things, and seeing how things would fit together. It was just using the wrong parts, and that's partially my misunderstanding. Um, the integrated monitor mount was a little trickier to decide where I wanted everything, and I think it's the monitors that I have. They don't fit exactly flush with each other, so I've had to the Visa bracket in the back. I've had to use a bunch of washers and nuts to help spread out that mount from the back of the monitor and try to make it flat so that it would line up with the center monitors correctly. I've almost got it right, so that's just going to take a little more tweaking. But it's such a solid rig. There's no movement whatsoever. I got the NRG FRP 300E bucket style racing seat. It's a fiberglass seat. It has an adjustable bracket, so I can choose 3 settings for the front and back of the seat. Right now I have it on the top setting in the front and the middle setting in the back, so a little bit of a tilt down. But it's pretty comfortable.
Can the seat move at all, or is it stationary?
I could have bought the seat slider, but I didn't. That might be a purchase down the road. But I did also, I got the wheel deck mount, not the front mount. That would be for a direct drive, but the wheel deck mount, and that was very easy to mount. That's why I was saying something about that other rig we were looking at. I got the mouse pad, which is very sturdy and convenient, and the keyboard tray, which is also very, very sturdy and easy to flip out and back in. And I had a DRD button box that had a RAM mount on it, and I just at the last second decided, oh, I'll try putting that on, and it worked out perfectly. So very, very pleased with it. Thank you, SimLabs, for a solid product. Your instructions leave a little bit to be desired, but I'll take it for the quality of the product you put out.
Yeah, website is sim-lab.eu. And yeah, that's a nice looking rig. That's probably the way I would go if I was starting over. Good job. Let's get into results. Let's talk Bristol NIS. Finish up last week, Thursday fixed. I got DQ'd out after 22 incidents. I actually wasn't doing too bad, but they just added up, and I'm still surviving, but it wasn't enough. Bill, teammate Bill Hull, he got a P8. He said he was in defense mode all race, trying to avoid any more 4X, and but he actually got a finish. Tony, you got a P boom, it says on Friday Open.
Yeah, I had a car turn right in front of me early, destroyed my front end, and I got it all repaired with a few laps down. I was actually running down the leader, and then the engine decided to die on me. So, yeah.
All right, then Chris, P17, and you've been taking a unique strategy.
Yeah, for the most part, I've been very non-aggressive. This race, I was a little aggressive and it bit me. I was in front of a guy that I had just passed, and I tried to push it just a little bit too hard to get past a guy that I was faster than in front of me, and pushed up into the wall and wrecked both of those guys. And my car was fine, but I got caught up in a wreck later on and ended up finishing P17. I think that was just karma for the one I caused earlier.
All right, and Greg, you got wrecked out too, blew up.
Yeah, I think I was running in the top 10 for the first little bit, then got in a wreck, and then nursed it around, and I think I got like another little bit of wall damage, and then all of a sudden it just blew up. So I don't know if it was going to blow up because of the wall damage, or it just, at some point from the wreck earlier, it was just bound to happen. My luck right now.
David Hall, you had some bad luck, but a P13 finish.
We're talking Friday Open, right? Yeah, I don't remember. I got caught up in something early, and then I was trying to fix the damage and was struggling with remembering which side was the front stretch, and caused myself to get a penalty, and was like 3 laps down for most of the race. There was so much carnage, I climbed back up to 13th, 1 lap down.
All right, and then Bill Hull got a P9. He had 16X. He had to avoid that DQ for the last 150 laps. Sunday Open, Chris, you got a nice top 10, P8.
Yep, just try to have a clean race after wrecking Friday, and had 0x until after the start finish and was in a big wreck. But the cool part of that race was I ran into a fan of the podcast, Jesse Gray, who was racing with Mason and David when they had that really good race. I think it was Martinsville. They finished first and second. But yeah,
Right.
it was really cool to. He was very excited to get his name on the podcast the first time. He said he almost wrecked his mail truck. So hopefully he doesn't wreck anything. But I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Well,
See if he knows Ray.
hauling the mail. Ray's the mailman too. So, all right, David, you got P13.
Yeah, this one was gonna turn out well, and the cautions just kind of killed me. Discovered that tires kill you, or old tires kill you, even on the restarts at Bristol. I was running third when a caution came out. The set was really good on the long run. We had 2 late cautions. Both times I kind of followed the leader's lead and stayed out, and both times I was horrendous on the restart. And I was so bad on the last restart that the guy behind me just was. He shot the gap, and the car collided with the car inside him, and he messaged me and said, yeah, that's my fault. And I was like, no, not really. It was because the restart was so bad. It just caused a stack up. So, and that's something I guess you just don't. You're in another situation, and it seems like staying out and running the old tires is just enough to hold on for that 1 lap. But at Bristol, it was just so bad, and we talked about a couple of the. I was too timid. I was afraid of spinning the tires, and just didn't turn out as good as it could have. But yeah, P13. If I'm to the point now where I'm getting disappointed with the P13s, okay, I would have liked to have had the top
Still
5.
top half, All right, Sunday fixed. I wrecked out again, P30. Let's jump to Richmond. I'm going to talk about all 3 of my starts in one breath here because it was so bad and so similar. Wednesday fix, P25. I was DQ'd out with too many incidents with 3 to go, right at the end. Just a couple laps left. Wednesday open, I was P31. I got taken out by a guy on the inside while on the outside. He just drives in too hard and gets into you, and there's nothing you can do. You're in the wall.
You can put that down for the same thing for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then today, Thursday open, wrecked out. Now this time I spun off on my own, and I'll take full ownership for that. I suck. And I hit the wall, and then the engine blew, and I didn't even finish. So really bad at Richmond for me. Tony, Rochette, what about you? You got a P5.
Yeah, I start. I was too busy eating a cheeseburger. Made my way all the way up front. Finished P5. Brent McCoy was also in that race. He started on the pole. He led most of the race for that, and he won.
He wins again. All right, Brent McCoy. And then I think he got a P2 the next race. So he got a first and a second. And so Brent is showing us up. But Tony, top 5, man. Good job. Stiver, you didn't get a good finish.
Yeah, I was running the top 5, and just a race and deal after a restart. We had different interpretations of how to get into turn 3. I was on the outside and decided I was going to go a little bit lower, I guess, and the guy inside decided he was going to go a little bit higher.
Yep. You're on the outside and get taken out. That's a common theme here, right, Greg?
Well, David got spun and I had nowhere to go and just went straight to the wall. That's the first time I've hit a wall and I've actually broke the steering on the car. I've never had the steering turn over 90 degrees from an accident like that, so that's a new one for me.
Yeah,
Try it.
I got put in the position I was the first time because I was basically right behind Mason on that restart. I saw him getting sideways and was checking up just a little, and the guy was close behind me. He tried to get off me, but tapped me just enough to send me around. And that put me in the back. And then I got caught up in. I don't even remember the order of how many times I got caught up in some incidents. One of the times I was coming around the back and I was shooting the gap on the far outside, and a lap car. I think I had fixed damage, so I had pitted late. And I was coming around, and a lap car is 20 miles an hour slower. This is the second time this has happened to me a short track. I come around the outside of the cars that I've got a lot more momentum on, and I'm just going to go around them on the outside and either make the move or at least fall in behind them. And there's a car there. I had to slam on the brakes, and it banged up the nose, and that pretty much did me in for a while. And then I had some other instance that a guy squeezed me into the wall, and then at the end, I still had a chance to go for a top 10. Uh, Caught a car that had a bad restart, and I tried to move to the inside of him while the car was also on the inside of me, so I could not pull down as far as I wanted to. He pulled down. We had a little bit of a net code and ended up with a meatball with a few laps to go.
All right. Bill Hull got a P9. Not a good. That's a good run for him. And then I think Justin Laird ran as well, but I don't know where he finished. Thursday, Tony Rochette, you ended up with the P18 earlier today.
Yeah, lap 2, I was coming out of turn 2, and there was a car blocking my view, and I go to the right, and all of a sudden there's a car stopped in the middle of the track, and I plowed right into him. Spent most of the race trying to fix my car, and just ended up with a P18.
Yeah, and then Bobby Jonas was running with you, and he was leading laps there for a while, and then he got a blown engine, got caught up in something. All right, David, what's our intramural standings?
Well, Chris ended up. This is after Richmond, or not after Richmond, after Bristol. Chris ended up opening his gap back up a little. He still holds the lead in the open standings. I'm 26 points behind him, and Mason is 39 points behind him. And then down in the NIS, there are basically three of you really that are consistently running every race. Now, there will be drop weeks to catch a few people up as they get back involved. But right now, we did have a lead change in the fixed standings, and this is pre-Richmond. So Brent's most recent win will probably kick him back to the lead. But right now, Bill is currently in the lead with one win. Brent is sitting at 7 points behind, and as well as Mike.
Yep.
I'm coming for you, Mike.
Do it. You're what, 64 back? All right. All right, very good. Let's talk league and hosted. Chris, you ran ARCA with Tony and got a P25.
Yeah, I mean that race was a ton of fun. Ran the Old Bastards race at Indy with Tony, and Justin Laird was in that race as well. I think he got a pretty good finish. We ran almost that entire lap was was green. We had a bunch of guys on run that were probably going to run out of fuel at the end of the race. I was one of them. I was passing guys, but they were saving more fuel than me. But I also pitted with one to go, so it was man. It's a lot of fun running with those guys, and it's the perfect balance to even out the NIS, like Tony was saying.
All right, Tony, a good run for you after a bad NIS, huh?
Well, yeah, it's a heck of a lot better than what I have been doing. I kind of crapped the bed at the end there as coming out of the corner, clipped the wall just a tiny bit, but man, it sent me like right into the wall, blew my car up, and I think what happened, I was running around just kind of minding my own business, just throwing laps down, and my motor blew and brought out a caution late in the race just to screw everything up for everybody else. But you know what? In the end, I still had a smile on my face. I had a lot of fun that race.
All right, that's OBRL, and then OSRA. Stiver, you missed the race because you were out and about, but Paul Smith got the championship win after a last lap wreck.
Yeah, I was watching the race though, and it was an exciting one. So he's on my team in that league, so he got the championship. Good for him.
All right. And then David, you and Mark Antonici ran Suzuka 6 hours, got a top 5.
Yep, we got caught up in an accident early. A car in front of us, a prototype. We were working our way through the GT3 traffic, or the GT8 traffic the first time, and there was an accident in front of us. The car in front of us slammed on its brakes, and those prototypes, if you lock the brakes up with the wheel turn a little bit, they just behave weird, and he just instantly turned sideways in front of me. No time to react. Busted up the front wing, but it was only about a 50-second repair, and then the car was just as fast as it was before. We just had to basically replace the wing. We traded off and came up with a top 5 in second split again, and pretty excited about it. We're currently sitting. You get individual points even though you run it as a team, and we're both actually in Division 4 and tied for second place right now in that series.
All right. All right, let's get into final thoughts. Chris Scales, you're up first.
Really cool to have Ray on the podcast. I think he was one of the first guests that to probably nerd out a little bit. I really appreciate the VRS videos he puts out every week. It helps me remind me of how to get around some of the tracks because I have such a terrible memory. I can't remember how to drive them from the last time we were there, if I ever knew.
Yeah, happy to have Ray on. He is the champ 4 times, and hopefully he's going for the 5th. All right, David Hall, final thoughts.
I really enjoyed the VRS as well. I don't rely on the oval other than the setup source, but learning road courses, I'm still trying to climb the ranks through there and just get better. And every time we come to especially a new track that I don't know, I watch those tutorials because learning the road courses and knowing which corners are late apex corners or high speed corners, it's all very, very helpful.
All right, very good. Greg Hectus, final thought.
I don't really have much to talk about this week. I got to get back into racing these cars. I'm not having any luck and a little bit down on my luck, I guess, with it, and just trying to get back at her. I'll hopefully the off week will be a good week to do some testing here because before we go to Tally.
So
There is
off
Watkins Glen for the prototype this week.
Yeah, well, next week is Easter weekend, so they don't race on Easter weekend, so then they go to Tally the following week.
Oh, so we don't have NIS next week is what you're telling me.
Yeah, because the A Open, I think if I remember talking to somebody today, it was at Richmond. Or, sorry, not Richmond, Rockingham.
Yeah, almost every off week, it's almost always Rockingham when during the off weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to Tally for sure. All right, Mason Stiver, final thought.
Yeah, I missed Bristol, which I'm not mad about at all. But Richmond's been a little confusing setup-wise. I've been doing okay, but not as well as the other weeks. So we'll get to work on that. I'm enjoying the SimLabs rig here and just customizing, position, seat position, foot pedal position, and just getting everything set up like I want it.
All right, enjoy the new rig. And good job on the setups. By the way, I ran your latest version in this last Open earlier today, and it was much better than the set last night. But you've really been stepping up on the sets, and good job. All right, Tony Groves, final thought.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Greg there. I don't have a whole lot going on. I'm just my real life is beginning to settle down a little bit, so hopefully that will give me a little bit more time and want actually to get back on and get some NIS under my belt.
Yeah, get back on that horse, boy. It's one of those things. It comes and goes. Tony Rochette, final thought.
Oh, I just want to thank all the peak drivers that have coming in and doing interviews on the podcast for the last few weeks. They've been really great, really informative and stuff like that. Gives a kind of peek behind the curtain there, per se. And NIS, can't wait for tomorrow night, and hopefully I won't get wrecked.
Yeah, we're going to try to get all the peak drivers on. I want to get every single one of them at some point. And so we're not going to do it every week. We do have a different kind of guest coming next week that's already lined up, but we'll keep that a surprise. But yeah, if you're a peak driver and you haven't been on, you will be hearing from us, and we want to have you. So hang in there, and we'll get you on the show. My final thought is social media for the podcast. We're trying real hard. We're kind of in a stale mode, and I'm just giving it a shot. But I want to point out, the podcast is growing, man. We're on Spotify now. There's a bunch of people listening to us there. And we just hit the 15,000 mark. Now, what number is that? Well, 15,000 downloads over 90 days, over a rolling 90-day period. So as the last 90 days rolls from one day to the other, we do a consistent 15,000 of downloads. And so what does that translate to? About 12 to 1,300 regular listeners. Now that can fluctuate because you get one-time listeners, you get people that come and go, but that's a good average number of 12 to 1,300. We want that number to grow, guys. And so I'm asking all the listeners out there, help me promote this on social media. When you see my link to the new show, put it on your social media, put it on your Facebook pages that I'm not posting to, and try to spread the word. Talk about it in your races. Tell people, hey, check out iRacersLounge.com. And that's all you have to say. And somebody will pick up on it. And I do appreciate that.
Just real quick, Mike, I want to let you know Jesse, speaking of that, he gave us a great shout out during that race. And
yeah,
so
see,
I just
that's
want to
what I'm
mention
looking
him
for.
again. Yeah.
People like Jesse who just say, hey, everybody in the room, check out iRacers Lounge, man. You guys will get all your iRacing news and whatnot. And that's all we need. And so if we get a few listeners to do that, we can really grow this to the next level. So with that, we'll see you on the track. Later.
User in your channel stopped
All right, clear.
recording.
Title idea.
All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.